Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. I'm back at you with episode 4 of Raw Hip Hop Perspective. Um, this episode is courtesy of our faithful, tried and true supporter, Somali, against Pan Africanism. He asked for me to do a episode on the current state of New York City hip hop, and that's the title. As you can see, the current state of New York City hip hop. In my humble opinion, this is just how I see it from a historical angle as well as on the ground experience here in New York. You know, as a prodigal son, if you will. I returned some time ago, and I see now I know why I saw what was coming out of New York when I was outside of New York. To a large degree, I can understand why, but we already have the obligatory fair use clause on the screen, so I'm going to show some videos. We're going to make this as quick as possible, you know. So let's get to this. What I think is going on with New York City hip hop right now is their New York period. Let's deal with New York. New York is going through another identity crisis. It's trying to find its identity. It's always done this. I mean, almost every region in America has gone through this at some point. They try to redefine themselves or reinvent themselves. For New York, we had the Harlem Renaissance. That was an era where New York tried to redefine itself. After that, you have, or at the same time, you had things like the World's Fair, which was, hold on, damn, yeah, let's check our levels. Hold on, check our levels. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Check 1 2 1 2. Here we go. All right, it's clear. It's clear. Let me know in the comments if it isn't, or I'll listen back. Bottom line is, so where did I leave off? Yeah, so at the same time, we had things like the World's Fair, which was a defining moment in New York City history. And then you fast forward to that. If you fast forward to the disco era, that was a response to Motown's takeover. That was New York trying to find its identity again. So that's what's really going on in New York right now. It's trying to find its identity. And of course, since New York has to find its new identity, New York City hip hop has to find its new identity. And in finding that new identity, we have to recognize a few things. And the major thing, as you may know or can tell from my previous videos, is the overabundance of first to third generation immigrants. And honestly, that's just what it is. There's no offense to them. Of course, they've been contributors to the creation of hip hop. They're not the creators. So let's make that one thing clear. So in this time when they're trying to find themselves, we have to give the history before this time. And again, I was outside of New York during this period, and this period being the late 90s, early 2000s. I was in and out. I didn't spend months here or weeks here. It was a weekend here, a week there. But I could tell what was going on. I can even tell just by me hanging with my little brother or talking to my sister. I could tell there was something going on there where they're trying to find themselves. And now you're dealing with a huge population of New Yorkers who are trying to find themselves to this day. And there's this gap in that early 2000s, that late 90s to early 2000s, where a lot of rappers started to have a monopoly. And we all know who they are. So this is no offense to them because business is business, okay? And we know who they are. Jay-Z, Nas, who else? P. Diddy, who else? Those are the main three who've had this monopoly for some time. And like I said, it's business. You know, you can't expect McDonald's to really support Burger King in overthrowing his power or his monopoly. That's just it's business. Because before them, we had rappers like G-Rap, Kane, Rakim, of course, Karis One, Grand Poobah. These are real popular rappers before Nas, Jay-Z, and Diddy. And they were phased out. But see, with Nas, Jay-Z, and Diddy, they have so much money that they could stay around as long as they like. And with giving Nas some love, you know, he has a reason to because his skill level has improved. He says some things I don't like, but hey, most of it is good. Okay, Jay-Z's skill level is still there, but it's not the same. He said it himself. If you want the old Jay-Z, go listen to his old shit. And that's what you have to do. Nas is like he never left his skill level from 1994. It's like, damn. And with Diddy, you know, he's a pop artist. You know, that's just what it is. But during this era in the late 90s, early 2000s, you also had a gentleman by the name of Ebro. We all know Ebro, you know. We all know him, okay? It's Ebro, okay? But just in case you may not know him, let's do this. Let's give you a visual of Ebro. Okay, so we all know Ebro Darden. He was essentially, or he was a program director for Hot 97, I believe. Yeah, Hot 97. And he's an out of towner, you know. He wasn't there to keep New York City hip hop current. He was there to conduct business. I know he had a debate with 50 Cent, and 50 Cent blamed him. And in a way, I could side with 50 Cent. Because honestly, 50 Cent is, to me, was the last bastion of Black Americans in hip hop in New York. Like, he was the last one, damn near. And that's why I loved him, honestly, you know, because everybody he went against were people we heard about in urban lore. Like, we heard about the street tales. So we know what he's going up against. We know who they are. We know what they are, if you get what I'm saying. And yeah, I rooted for 50, you know, especially when he spelled Gorilla Unit, Guerrilla. Is it Guerilla. When I saw him spell it like that, I was like, okay, homeboy's on to something. But of course, he changed it to the gorilla animal spelling. But bottom line is, 50 was that nigga for that first album, or no, his first mixtape, which was made up of original songs, you know, and that shit was good, dog. I was like, this nigga's good. He had a song called Fuck You. I don't give a fuck who you are. Fuck you. And he had another song, what's the name? Get out the club, bitch. Like, it was like he was talking to us, the niggas who were trying to make a living and live, nigga. Like, nigga, I like this nigga. And of course, he dropped the classic Get Rich or Die Trying. If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. You know what I'm saying? Or Heat, all that shit. It's classic. But he was and that's one thing. There was a disappearance of Black Americans in hip hop in New York. So 50 was like that last one out the gate. Like, he caught that last train out of Georgia and shit. And he was the one who really popularized the mixtape era. I know there's been some recent debate over who was the first, but he was the one who popularized it for me. I mean, mixtapes were around way before 50 or way before Cameron, because you had DJ SNS, you had Ron G, you had who else? Of course, my homeboy Tony Touch. You had a bunch of motherfuckers who had mixtapes, okay? But this era is when it became an actual commercial product that could really sell. But Ebro wasn't playing that shit on the radio, you know. And honestly, I could say the mixtape era kind of hurt New York hip hop to a large degree because it had like great, you know, rhymes. You know, the skill level was good, but it had a small reach or a short reach. Excuse me. Its reach wasn't expansive. It was limited to people who really enjoy the music. So it didn't advance the lyricism on a commercial level to perhaps force Ebro to play the music. I mean, 50 Cent was the only one who was forced, or he forced himself on radio, you know, in New York. I remember I came back the year that Get Rich and Die Trying came out. You saw his shit everywhere, nigga. Like, he took it over. And I was like, hey, I knew you niggas like this shit because I was out west, but I was like, I like this nigga. You know, of course, after his first album, I fell off. That's how I am. You know, 50 know what he's done. He went for the bag. And do what you do, but to get back to the mixtape era really kind of, it kind of took New York City rap to the true hip hop listeners to a large degree. You know, motherfuckers who really enjoyed it, you know, because I actually checked out for some time because that shit got annoying, you know, and I didn't check back in until like 2003, 2004, and that's when Little Brother was popular. Elzai was doing this thing. It was a few people, and that's another thing that leads me to the next point. There were a lot of New York City rappers that could have taken some type of lead. Like, let's do this. And let me give you some examples. So give you some examples. For example, this gentleman right here, Shy Stimuli. Shy Stimuli was good. He was decent. He was good to me, man. I was like, this nigga's good. But of course, going back to my main point about the monopoly and what happened with, you know, certain rappers just, you know, taking over. That's just what it was, you know. And it's not me saying this shit necessarily. I'm not the one who could sit here and just, you know, hate on Jay-Z or Nas or Diddy, but, you know, he said it himself. Let's listen.
I was seeing Jay. You know, I was going out and at 40/40 at this club at that spot. Knew where he was going to be. You know, I'm chilling with Len. Jay happened to be there. I wouldn't go over to him. I was just chill, let him talk to me, and you know, we spoke. We spoke more than once, and it was just a conversation. Like, it started out real cool, real cordial, and you know, every time I see him after that, it was something different. It was like his face would change, like he's like a shapeshifter or something. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this ain't the same dude. Like, he went from like, it's all love, like, yo, can't wait till you come through, to yo, talk to Lenny, yo, I gotta hear the music. Nah, I know you nice. Like, what? Like, I don't understand what you're saying to me. So I had to double back and say, you know what? Let me focus on what I can control.
Rich. So you heard him yourself. Jay ducked him. And I can remember reading articles where he said he may have resembled Jay a little too much, you know, tall, skinny, both from Brooklyn, both lyrical. So, like I said, McDonald's is not gonna give Burger King business, nigga. That's not how this shit works, okay? So, for all you can say about Jay, you know, it is what it is, okay? And another person was Mano. Mano could have really taken the reign. But think about Mano's the nigga. I remember when I first saw him on BET Uncut, and I think that it was a song called The Industry's Dead or some shit. I was like, nigga, the nigga's from Brooklyn. No, I know this nigga's from Brooklyn. And I was like, it's good, man. It's good to see this shit, nigga. But Mano's a fucking bully. Okay? He's a fucking bully. Okay? That's what he is, okay? And he knows that shit. You know, and dog, by that time, hip hop was corporate. So it's like a fucking job. You can't go on a job beating people's asses. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You just can't. You know, you can't just beat niggas' asses.
What I did? Yo, it's how comfortable these bitches, this nigga is. Yo, he driving, see me. He would two cars in it. So he pull over. He pulled the fuck over my hood. Come on, like, come on, son. Somebody got them wrong. Or they got me twisted. Okay. Somebody got them wrong, they got me twisted. They pull over two niggas. Two trucks of niggas. I don't got no beef with nobody else. So, goes over there. Told his other man, told him, look, kid, man, you spoke on the phone, man, you good. Got no situation with you. But your man is fool. I said, all right.
So what is she saying as
he ain't out yet? He ain't jump out yet.
He drive.
They stopped.
Okay.
He's still in the truck. And they're freak it out. Yo, what up? I told him, kid, it's on. Don't want to talk.
So who got out and said, what up, kid?
It's man free.
Oh, it's man. Okay, cool.
So, nigga finally gets out the car. He got out maybe like a minute after I got there. He walks out like this. Like ready to get busy.
Oh, for real?
Like, I just shocked me like this. Who done lied to this nigga? But this is what it is. He's so comfortable because his people is there. You know what they telling him?
What?
I'm not gonna say all his people. I'm gonna say his man. You know what he telling him? Don't worry about it. It ain't nothing. We gonna talk. We ain't gonna let it get that far. So he comfortable.
Okay.
I'm down there, right? So I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna slap the shot this nigga. Because prior to that, a lot of people don't know I called him. I called him 2 weeks before that, and he locked himself in the car.
Okay.
So when he walks up to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna slap the shit out this nigga. And I swear to God, he put his shit up. I'm like, oh shit.
He threw his shit up.
He threw his shit up and swung.
Ooh,
and when he swung, he like punched me in my arm. But his man free was like in the middle, like chill. That nigga's chill. Like see, it happened fast. But I'm explaining it to you slow. He told me chill. He in the middle of us, so he swings around like free and punches me in the arm. I'm like, yo, get off me, right? And then I said, you know what? Matter of fact, you a bitch because I blame you for doing all this shit. So I stills on him, knocks him the fuck out, put him in the
That's
street.
his man.
Put him dead.
He sleep.
He sleep. I swear to God, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I swear to God, my son, I got one son. I ain't lying, son. I don't got to lie on a nigga, son. Because if a nigga knock me out, I'm going to tell you what it is, son.
So now
what your man do? What your man do?
Plume ain't nothing faster than a plume.
What's that?
Ain't nothing faster than a plume.
I know it was a plume. Look.
Ain't nothing faster.
That was a plume. But so
That's some Brooklyn shit. Niggas used to be like, yo, that nigga was out of here. Pew! Yeah, but Mano was a bully, and that kind of like limited his growth, in my opinion, because he had decent music. It was commercial. It could have competed with the Southern sound, you know, that was taking over at that time. But, you know, and it was an incident where this nigga pulled a gun out. Not pulled a gun, but he showed his gun to a nigga in the club on camera. I was like, it's like the way they angled the camera, you didn't see the gun, but you saw him pull up his waist. So you know, like, nigga, we know what you just did. And another person was Saigon. Saigon, we all know what happened with Saigon. Saigon, let's see. Here we go. We all know what happened with Saigon. He got into it with fucking Mobb Deep, and he got banned from Hot 97. That goes back to Ebro. Ebro didn't have to do that shit. But again, this is corporate America at that time. And if you hit somebody at the job, you're fired. That's the bottom line. You know, unless you're defending yourself. But other than that, you're fired, man. That's just what it is. But yeah, Saigon was another person that had a chance to carry that New York shit, dog. His shit was decent. I like Saigon. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, he was shelved. And honestly, all of these artists that came out at that time and had a chance, they were trying to fill a vacuum left behind after Biggie's death. And Biggie, like, didn't get a chance to fully flesh out his identity because he was only on his second album. And it shows so much promise. Like, Sky's the Limit let us know, like, he's maybe could go in that, you know, upliftment route, but still keep it hardcore. but he was never able to flesh it out. So it left New York with a huge vacuum. You got all these fucking immigrants. You got motherfuckers trying to make money off of this shit. And they were trying to really keep up with the West Coast. That's just what it was. You know what I'm saying? And we all know what the West Coast had to offer primarily. Not primarily, but at least on a commercial level. So commercially, it was gangster music. And I think a lot of niggas on the East Coast, period, didn't understand the reason for that music. Like, they never lived in California. They didn't realize, yes, this shit is ignorant, but they're dealing with some very ignorant motherfuckers. Like, you got motherfuckers who want you to pay $3,000 to live right next door to a crack house. You got motherfuckers who are fining you over every fucking thing, trying to fucking deprive you of resources, essentially. You know, California is like a place where they treat it like you should be thankful we let you live here. So how can you respond to that? If not, you know, I mean, how are you supposed to respond to that if you want to survive? There's no other way to respond to that besides get a little aggressive, assertive, if you want to be professional, you know. But that's why that music sounded that way. But I think niggas on the East Coast just thought, you know, all we have to do is get super gangster. And they went overboard with that shit. You know what I'm saying? They really went overboard with that shit. And those rappers who had the monopoly, they had, it's like, let's see who else had a monopoly. Fabulous had a monopoly, and Busta had a monopoly, and all they did was talk about street shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool, but it was like, nah, nigga, I'm cool. Especially Fabulous, he was aight, and I was like, he's the only song I could say I truly liked from him back then was Breathe, and that's it. All that Lover Boy shit, nigga, stop it. But that's just my opinion. Again, my humble opinion. And honestly, another thing that kept New York City hip hop from growing is this possessiveness, is this need to say like this is ours, and you know anybody outside of the 5 boroughs can't participate in this thing of ours. When in all actuality, you had Gangstar, who gave New York City a fucking sound. You know, they updated the sound from the 80s and shit and gave New York really a sound. You know, DJ Premier is from Texas. Guru is from Boston. Like, I always thought Little Brother would move to New York and take over, you know, but of course some niggas didn't want to deal with the high cost of living and the craziness and shit. But yeah, it's just like they have this possessiveness, and it still shows today. Like, let me play this clip right here. Okay. But that possessiveness kind of stagnates the growth and the progress. But let's play this video right here. Listen to this guy. This is Math Hoffa, Fair Use. Fair Use.
Personally, Flex, I got nothing against you. Nothing against you. You do your business the way you see fit. However, do I have a preference? Yes, I do. Do I listen to radio any longer? No, I don't. You want to know why? Because radio stopped representing New York, period. You go to Atlanta, you're not hearing New York records.
Oh,
you go to Houston, you're not hearing New York records. You go to Cali, you're not hearing New York records. Well, sometimes.
No,
sometimes.
but it ain't the same.
Sometimes. But every market,
y'all New York records are not playing.
Hold on.
Listen to
every other
we coming
market,
back for this.
Every other market,
Yes,
supports home.
really.
Every other market supports home.
Bro, when I was
And
in
when
Atlanta,
you have artists that are breaking records without records being broke, how do you not support that?
when I was in Atlanta, they played Future so much, I thought he might have died.
Let me help you with
That's
something.
fucking Future.
I dead ass thought he might
That's
have
fucking
died.
Future though.
First of all, in
Every song
Atlanta,
on every
they have
project.
8 hip hop stations.
That's Future though.
That's
What?
one. Hold
I
on.
thought
2,
he died.
down south niggas.
Still pay to be on the radio.
But now hold on. That's what you're forgetting.
But now let's be fair.
Niggas act like he don't know this shit. That's what I'm looking at
What are
him.
you talking about?
They got all the fucking money. That's how they took over.
But let's be fair.
That's
Let's be 100. Let's be 100% fair.
but I'm not
Migos is
disagreeing
still
with you.
paying for
But you're not saying
Hold on.
that.
Hold on.
And
I'm not
How do you
disagreeing
know
with
that?
you.
That's how they took.
Hold on. You can tell by their rollout, the time of day their song plays, where they land on the playlist on Rap Caviar when it's
Pause. Mecca, is down south niggas paying for radio still? All right then.
like
That's how they took over.
billboards, the whole rollout. You know
They took
still
over
paying.
because they was like, "Wow, everybody wants to be organic." Yo,
Here.
here, nigga.
Big lie.
Fuck organic,
Big
nigga.
lie. Big
What?
lie. You
That's
wanna
not
know
a
why?
lie?
Because I know somebody has sat in that seat.
One nigga, know one nigga.
Damn, hate that.
Hi, it's Bob Diamond. For you over folks out there, I got a really funny story that you're going to appreciate. So we just got to check.
There.
You know one person.
I know somebody
You know
who
one
is
person.
huge
It's
in
crazy,
Atlanta,
bro.
Huge in
Yo,
Atlanta.
this nigga
that
will name
sat in
one
that
person
seat
out of
and
40
said,
niggas.
I never did that.
This nigga will name one person out of 40 niggas.
hold on,
and that one nigga don't know what his label did.
Yeah.
That one nigga don't know
Yeah.
what his label paid for.
That's what I
I
was about to say.
guarantee you
21,
110% his label
21,
paid money.
21.
21, your label
21,
paid
21,
money
21. I
behind your
doubt it.
back,
I
nigga.
doubt
He
it.
didn't even know
21,
niggas could pay for the stream.
21,
He didn't even know
21.
niggas could pay for
He didn't know niggas paid for streams.
That's crazy.
40 niggas paid.
So,
he didn't know that he
so that had. Is
Why
that
do
what
they-
we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do they care so much?
Why do they care so much?
If it's not a factor and they have so much success no, I'm not missing shit. When niggas got success and niggas got money, they don't give a fuck about what everybody else is doing. They don't give a goddamn. Yo,
Yes, they
fuck
do.
you. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
It's home.
No, they don't. Their home is
It's
upstate.
home.
Their home in New York City. Their home is Buffalo. Go get played in Buffalo and beef with the Buffalo nigga. You not from the 5 boroughs, nigga. Stop it. What
That
are we
don't
talking
matter.
about?
That don't matter.
It do fucking matter. That's local. That's local. The 5 boroughs here is local. You gonna
And
put
so you
pressure.
hear what you saying,
You
right?
gonna put pressure on the nigga who's spinning records in Buffalo. That's the nigga who should be playing your shit, going dumb, making the world understand your shit. Miami, fucking Atlanta radio, they got small markets. They got a lot of radios, but their market share is small, my nigga. And they play their small market share. Go to Buffalo and make them niggas play Benny the Butcher like they play Future in Atlanta. And then you talk to Flex. Then you talk to these niggas and say, my local niggas in New York upstate is bumping my shit, nigga. Why are you not? That's the topic, nigga. If Math is from Brooklyn, Math better not talk about why a Buffalo nigga not playing this shit. Fuck a Buffalo nigga. We talking about a New York City nigga. This is where you from. This is your foundation. That's what they should be talking about. They missing the ticket, my nigga. And if niggas is paying your record, you're making money. Everybody wants to make money, correct? This is okay. I think you got the idea. They started out talking about how New York doesn't support New York, and this guy, I think his name is Esso. That's his name. You see the shirt. He's from Queens. There's this possessiveness. It's like New York has to get out of this myopic thinking. No, what should happen is niggas need to pretty much click up and make a northeast push in hip hop, okay, to bring New York back to the limelight. I know I'm talking about the current state of New York hip hop, but New York is not just the 5 boroughs anymore, man. That's not how shit works anymore. And I say this because I saw this out west in the Bay Area. For example, E40 is not from Oakland. E40 is from Vallejo, but E40 will be damned if you tell him he can't represent Oakland, okay? So every other place has modified their approach to take over. Atlanta is the same way. A lot of those Atlanta rappers aren't from Atlanta. Them niggas are from the exterior of Atlanta. Shit, Ludacris is from fucking Chicago. Fucking who else? Fucking Jermaine Dupri is from like Decatur or some shit. So that shit that niggas think about in New York is old and played out, and it doesn't work. What you need to do is involve outsiders so you can really take over the game again. And that possessiveness also goes back to the whole second or third generation immigrants. They want to possess this place because they understand the importance of controlling the news media capital of the United States, if not the world. That's the bottom line, man. That's what it is. I don't care what you say or think. They know why they need to control this shit. And that's why they maintain the Caribbean lie about the creation of hip hop. They know the importance of controlling this small space, you know? And that's the reason Fat Joe keeps on pushing that lie about Hispanics creating hip hop with Black Americans. They understand the importance of that shit. But here comes the fucked up part. Let's minimize this. Let's check our levels. Okay. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Here we go. So they understand the importance of this shit, but they also are complacent. They're happy with what it is, like the way it is. They don't want to necessarily see this shit have some experience exponential growth. You know, they're happy with whatever they can get because these niggas could stay home until they're 60 years old. You know, like let me show you this guy right here. Let's see if we can bring homeboy up. Yeah. There you go. So they're okay with the current state, okay? And they're okay with it because of this, okay? They're complacent, okay? And that's just what it is. There's no two ways about it, you know? So listen to this.
Running water, 3 bedrooms, a public school for every quarter, a store in every corner, a public defender, appointed every pauper, affordable jet blue, any one of you could board a flying saucer. Access to cough drops and pork chops, sports facilities in the vicinity for free. You must be kidding me, this ain't the place to be. Minimum wage they could pay you, you could praise, you could choose who you pray to. Regardless who you choose as your God. Workers' comp if you get hurt at your job. Food stamps, benefit cards. Ain't lousy. Child labor laws, Section 8 housing. I Spy, gas and oil power. Wi-Fi, lots of phone towers. The post office and a bus station and a train station and a fire and a sanitation departments. Eviction laws will buy you 6 extra months in your apartment.
You get the point. Even though the title of the song is America the Beautiful, he's really talking about New York. Everything he said is New York. Because listen to what he said. Eviction, you got 6 months. That's not true in a lot of other places. The motherfuckers will put your shit on the curb and not give a fuck. The sheriff will be there, pistol cocked, ready to handle business. So they're kind of complacent with this shit. They don't want to see this shit get better. You know, it's not that they don't want to see it, but it's not a motivation. And I think that also stems from going back to my whole theory on Biggie leaving a vacuum. Because what a lot of people don't know is around the time when Biggie died, you know, there was this thing where, how can you put it, man? Let's stop sharing this real quick. Check my levels, check 1 2 1 2. So there was another thing that was happening at that time. And they were pretty much allowing certain people from the underworld to clean their money. And this is an example. Lance Unrevealed. And I say all this respectfully. I don't have time for the nonsense. But he's an example. He had Cameron. You put on Little Kim, and you know you had people also like this guy. You had Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman was with the Fugees. You know, he signed The Game. The Game is in LA, but Jimmy Henchman is based in New York. So you had these drug dealers cleaning up their money. You know, Fabulous is a part of that shit. They were cleaning up dirty money, and that shit never really went away damn near. It's still around. You don't know the players now because they're smart enough to stay out of the limelight and shit. You know, they're not dumb enough to, you know, make a movies and shit, you know. But around this time, in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, you had gentlemen like Jimmy Henchman and Lance Unrivera, you know. And like I said, he signed Cameron, you know. And we all know Cameron is he's a decent lyricist and stuff. But, you know, he wasn't good to me. I mean, he's good. You know, I think I liked SDE. I think it was Sex, Drugs, and Entertainment. That was decent. I didn't like his first album. The album that he released on Rockefeller, didn't really care for it except for a few songs. But that stagnated New York's growth. You know, just the simple fact that we had to suffer through these niggas putting niggas on just so they can make money and become legit. And if you don't think my opinion matters, just listen to the homie. Listen to the homie.
You know what I'm saying? Basically, like to me, I just don't listen to these niggas. You know what I'm saying? I prefer not to listen to this bullshit. I just prefer to listen to what I do. I do what I do, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just certain shit I don't listen to, like niggas like Max B and like Jim Jones and Cam, like all that garbage shit. You know what I mean? All the Hell Rail shit. Like, I ain't into that shit. You know what I mean? Like Cassidy, certain niggas. I just ain't into certain niggas, man. You know, that might be your preference, but I'm trying to tell you, man, rap is for a select few, man. Everybody not supposed to be rapping, man. So these niggas, a lot of these niggas need to cut it out, man. Do something else with yourself. Get something else popping, man. Leave our shit the fuck alone, man. You know what I mean? Look how long Mobb Deep do it.
And he's right. These niggas could have picked up a trade, but unfortunately, niggas in the drug trade needed them to clean up their money. And that's my theory. That's what I theorize, okay? Take it for what it's worth. You ain't got to believe me, nigga. Sure. But bottom line is, you had these niggas just coming out saying the most ignorant shit just for fucking attention, and the music wasn't good. I mean, Cameron had, you know, let's be real. If it wasn't for Just Blaze, Cameron wouldn't have taken off like he took off. Okay, that's just what it is. Just Blaze beats saved Cameron's career. Okay, but bottom line is, I couldn't listen to a whole album of that shit, and I bought that album. Come Home With Me, his first Rockefeller album, and I was fucking disappointed. The only song on there was New York City, Old Boy, and maybe one or two, but the rest of it was trash, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And we all knew that, and Prodigy knew it. We all knew it. And Prodigy, around that time, Prodigy was a nigga, but Prodigy pretty much got damn near like blackball. Because what another thing I neglected to mention, going back to Mano and how he was a bully. Mano didn't know, like, when the Wu came through and Ice Cube came through, they kind of ruined the chance for you to just strong arm people and beat people up and shit. You know, those days were over. And I believe Mobb Deep fell into that category where niggas knew, like, these little niggas will fucking set it off. You know what I'm saying? Because I can remember, like, going to, like, parties that they were in attendance. And by the time you get there, the shit shut down because these niggas started some shit. I'm like, damn, these little niggas. These were little niggas. I remember, like, these little niggas, shit, busting their thing out there and shit. With their ratchets and shit. But, to go back to the point at hand, there was this vacuum. And I do believe the first to third generation immigrants play a role in that vacuum. They play a role in the existence of that vacuum. Like, Like they just said a lot of outlandish shit, you know, and it was like, ugh, and that turns people off, you know. But who am I to say anything? They were just doing what they could to blend in and find a new identity in their new home, you know, because this is what they were essentially, you know. They were fightful, trying to find themselves. So who am I to judge, you know? But that played a key role, you know. And of course, we had another person who popped up, and that is, you know, French Montana. Let's be real about it. French Montana came through, you know, and he became a staple in New York City hip hop. He became someone everybody looked to. But French Montana, really is like, he takes everything for a fucking joke, if that makes any sense. You know, everything's a fucking joke to him. It's like he never made a song where I could say he really said something worthwhile, you know? And that's just what it is, you know. That's not to speak ill of him, but I think a lot of times when these people come here, especially the first gens, they're so excited because they know what they escaped by their parents moving to America. So everything's a fucking joke and shit, you know? And like, let me show you this.
Here, I think he is playing with fire when he does this.
Man, look, I get pulled over too. Black Lives Matter. Hey, brother. I ain't do nothing. Black Lives Matter, brother. No, we don't know that car. You know that car?
That's probably the
Hip Hop Police. Yeah, that's Hip Hop Police. Yeah, what's up? Bad guy, anything I need to know about? Yeah, what up, bitch? You got some I need to know about?
So yeah, when you've been pulled over, look, you can tell.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna sit here and coon for the police, but there's a certain way you conduct yourself in public, and he's always been like a fucking like a jokester type nigga, you know, and there's never been anything real about him. It's just like ugh. And I can remember, I can't find a clip for the life of me. Believe me, I tried to find it, where he was at an in-store in upstate New York. And there was this little girl who asked him, "What are you?" Because she's in upstate New York. She's most likely Black American. And French was like, "I'm whatever you want me to be." Because this little girl most likely thought he was Puerto Rican or Dominican and shit, you know, by going by his appearance. She wouldn't have thought Moroccan. But that, even looking at that clip and remembering that clip, this nigga knew what he was doing when he was coming out, like with the Coke Boys DVDs. That's another thing. There was a bunch of DVDs out at that time too, you know, Sub-Zero, Forbes DVD, Coke Boys. That was French Montana's DVD. And it was like, you know, that little girl knew like something's up with this nigga. Like, what is this nigga? Because this is odd. And he's always been an odd nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it goes so far that he's odd for no reason. Like, and since he's in a position of power in New York, you would think he would care about New York, but this is not his worry, really, most likely. Unfortunately, you know, his worry is shit like this.
Unforgettable video is what brought you to Uganda in the first place. Another place Unforgettable landed you is on President Barack Obama's Best Songs of 2017 list. And you yourself thanked him for being such an unforgettable president.
Yes.
What did you mean when you said that?
There's a thing called DACA. It's a program that he started for dreamers, basically for people like me that come from another country that, you know, that strive to be the best person they can be, you know, with dreams come true. I think like last September, Trump stopped that. So if Congress don't step up by March, there will be no land of dreams of, you know, there's people coming from other countries and try to make their dreams come true and stuff like that. That's why he was unforgettable president, for doing things like that, for giving everybody an opportunity. You can come from anywhere and make something happen. So that's why I appreciate him.
for all the kids who are part of the DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, for all these kids who are maybe feeling away right now and looking, because they always say, you can't be what you can't see. And so for young dreamers, for kids who are recipients of DACA, who may be sort of fighting feelings right now, who are looking to you for inspiration, what kind of message of hope would you want to leave them with today?
Just have faith in yourself and follow your dream. Don't depend on nobody. Sometimes the person you're looking for to help you is yourself. Just keep going. If you don't have faith, you ain't got nothing.
I would follow any advice you gave based on the last year of your life. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Montana. And thank you for joining us here on MTV News.
So you care about DACA, but what about Chinks, nigga? What about Chinks peoples, nigga? What about New York City hip hop, my nigga? In New York City hip hop has nothing to do with DACA. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? It's like your power is being spread somewhere else where it was never in, like, nobody probably thought buying your Coke Boys DVD will result in your dream turning into somebody else's dream that takes away from our dream, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. But that is why I think New York City hip hop is going through an identity crisis. These niggas are still trying to find themselves. And if you don't know Chinks, go look up his music. I believe he's Black American. Lionel Pickens, Dufon. I mean, I don't know. He could not be. But bottom line is, let's read this shit. Nah, he lived in North Amityville, but hold on. He's from Edgemere. Nah, he's most likely Black American if he's from Far Rockaway. Yeah. But bottom line is, the focus isn't on growth and taking New York City hip hop in a new direction. It's about some other shit, some shit that has nothing to do with New York City hip hop. And that's why I believe there's been hardly any growth or any change. Like, let's look at this. Let's go here. Let's see. Can I find it real quick? Okay, here we go. Stop share screen and then bring this shit up. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you for your time. Okay, here we go. So, this is the top 30 New York rappers 2023 best rappers from New York City list. So this is recent. Okay, let's go through this list. Okay. Again, Immigrant Takeover is the focus right now. Nicki Minaj, Trinidadian. Cardi B, Dominican, and I think Guyanese. A$AP Rocky, Bayesian. I don't know his other half, but he claims Bayesian. So, hey, go on with your bad self. Pop Smoke, he's actually half Panamanian, half Jamaican. Lil TJ, I don't know who he is necessarily, but he's from the Bronx, and Bronx is pretty much immigrant central, Black immigrant central. Nas, of course, is on the list. He's still doing his thing. One love, baby. French Montana. We just went through French Montana. He's Moroccan. A Boogie with the hoodie, I believe he's Trinidadian. I believe. I don't know. Lil Tecca, don't know this little nigga. He's from Queens, so you never know. FEO Foreign, he's Caribbean. St. John, he's Caribbean. Joey Badass, he's Caribbean. These dudes, I don't know them. Sleepy Hollow. Where are they from? They don't say a borough. Oh, Flatbush. Shit. First sentence. The black guy is most likely Caribbean. And the white appearing guy looks like he could be half Asian and half white. I don't know. Who knows? Come on, man. And Young M.A., she's Puerto Rican. She's half Puerto Rican and half, I forgot. I think it's Puerto Rican and Jamaican, I think. Not too sure. Bobby Shmurda, he's Caribbean. He's Caribbean. Who's this? Rich the Kid, don't know the kid. Fabulous, he's Dominican and Guyanese. Sheck West, I think he's either Congolese or Senegalese. I know he's from the continent of Africa. Chef G, don't know the little nigga. This little nigga, most likely Dominican. Davies, he's half Black American and half Bayesian. Now, he's Black American, but think about Davies, he's good as fuck, but he hasn't made a hit. It's like he's stuck in the Nas Illmatic phase, and he hasn't reached the It Was Written phase because he's good, but he hasn't made that seminal project. It's something holding him back. And I don't know what it is. And I think it has to do with that identity crisis because this nigga claims to be a Crip. And it's like, what the fuck? I get the whole gang thing in New York. It was born out of necessity. I get it. It came through the jails. Niggas need to click up to survive. And that's a part of that identity crisis. They clicked up and formed these gangs because the Latinos were pretty much terrorizing the Black inmates. And they clicked up under Bloods and Crips. Who else? Munch Girl, Ice Spice. She's Nigerian and I think Puerto Rican. Dusty Locan, don't know him. Don't know Dream Doll. But going by the looks, I don't know. Damn, they just got a bunch of random niggas. Oh, Rowdy Rebel, he's Caribbean. Don't know this nigga. He don't know this nigga. I'm not even going to assume. But you see the list. A majority of them are non-Black American, with the exception of Dave East, depending on his own orientation. You know, he may be one of the ones who are half Black American, but they don't value their Black American heritage. Who knows? Because he's never talked about it. And that's another thing. The reason I even focus on the identity crisis is the fact that back in the days, New York rappers self-identified. Like they told you their lineage. They told you who they were. You know what I'm saying? Rakim, you know, his verse on the Ghetto, the first verse. You know what I'm saying? He spoke about his lineage. He spoke about his family, himself. You know, who else? Kane always spoke about how fly his father was. You know, who else? G-Rap spoke about his life. You know, but these new niggas don't. And I think that's a part of the identity crisis and wanting to mask themselves in Black American urban culture, you know, and that's that cosplaying shit that's fucking annoying. But yeah, New York City hip hop, the best solution, in my opinion, would be to essentially bring on more seasoned artists, you know, and have them like stop going for these little kids, like the young 20-year-olds, because they don't know shit. I see these little niggas every day, and it's like, the fuck is wrong with these kids? And I don't want to be that old nigga that, you know, don't step on my lawn, nigga. But when you engage them, they don't even want to listen. You know, at least with my generation, at least for me, I would listen no matter what. But these little niggas don't, they just think they know everything. And that's a part of that identity crisis. In them trying to find themselves, they think they know everything about themselves instead of fucking listening. But they need more seasoned artists, nigga. I would even say Math Hoffa. Math Hoffa is Caribbean too. But I would say Math Hoffa may have something to offer. Who knows? Because you have to deal with what you have. You know, even though he's Caribbean, you know, he seems like a cool dude. He says some off shit several times, but a little correction could solve that problem. Who else? Saigon needs to be put back on, most likely. He still has it. Who else? Shot Stimuli, I haven't heard anything as of late. The last song I heard was Kitty Cat or some shit. That shit was funny as fuck. That actually needs to be a Manosphere anthem. But who else? I can't think of anybody who's older. But of course, we already got Griselda out there. The only thing with Griselda for me is the fact they talk about drugs all the time. And if they ever hear this, nigga, I like y'all shit, but niggas can't hear. I don't want to listen to drugs all the fucking time, my nigga. I just don't. I'm old, nigga. I'm OG, nigga. Nigga ain't got time for that shit, nigga. But I like the lyricism. I like the penmanship. I like the production. But We need some more seasoned artists in the vein of, the native tongue. Maybe we need an older group of native tongue niggas to come through, something. But New York needs to find this identity. It needs to stop with this immigrant takeover. And it also needs to open its mind up to forming a Northeast Commission or Northeast Federation, something to unify upstate with New York and Jersey with New York, Connecticut with New York, fucking Boston with New York. That nigga Talib Kweli always talks about bridge and tunnel people. And he phrases it in a way to say like they're not from New York or they're not significant. That mentality needs to go. Because no, you're not significant, nigga, because you are thinking myopically. You're thinking locally. You're not thinking globally. You're not like, if it wasn't for fucking Rakim and Public Enemy really pushing for their inclusion, rap wouldn't be where it is today. And they're way outside of the 5 boroughs. Them niggas in Long Island. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for EPMD pushing their way through the door, rap wouldn't, or New York City rap wouldn't be what it is today. EPMD introduced the funk to New York City hip hop and shit. So you niggas need to get off that shit, because this shit could be beautiful, but you're fucking stymieing the growth of every artist who could fucking really give birth to a new mindset. And I have a theory, which I may go for a doctorate for, but I think there's a correlation between music and economics. When people are happy, they spend more money. And when they have more music in their life that's inspirational, it motivates them to get more money. I fucked up myself. I gave away a whole thesis paper, most likely. Who gives a fuck? I'll think of something else. But bottom line is, you motherfuckers need to get off your bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And get to work, nigga, because it's not that hard. But, with that being said, let me make sure I got everything out the way. Make sure I got everything out the way. Oh yeah, let's not forget this last point. Going back to them, the immigrants being, complacent and satisfied with the crumbs. If it wasn't, for this site right here, man, New York City hip hop would be somewhere else too, for better or worse, this site has been around forever now. It's been around forever. Okay. It's been around 17 years, World Star Hip Hop. It's been around for, I haven't been there in years now. I used to go there, I can't lie, because when they first came on the scene, they posted documentaries, news clips, and everything, but then it just became videos and fight clips. But that kind of retarded New York City hip hop. And also, we can't forget this guy. Let's see if we can bring him up real quick. Damn, that nigga didn't even come up. Let's just do this. Because I like to give you a visual. You can, if you're listening to me, I'll say his name. But bottom line is, this nigga right here has really impacted New York City hip hop. This piece of shit, fat fuck right here, Academics, DJ Academics, a non-DJing DJ. This motherfucker has pretty much kept New York in some type of like dungeon, because he focuses on sales, and he's just it goes back to the whole first generation immigrant shit, the identity crisis shit. That's what it really is. Okay. But he played a role in this shit too. Okay. But other than that, I think we're done here. Thank you. Have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and rest well, be well, see well.